National League than the Dodgers right now? No is the answer. And so he's in a situation where he's going to be bred for success on the mound. And if Ross Stripling is available, you got to get him and start him today. Okay, the only problem starting him today, if I have a reluctancy here today, not over the next 4 or 5 weeks, I want him on my squad, okay? But if there is a reluctancy today, it may be this is his first start. Is he stretched out enough? How far will he pitch into the game? I mean, I could see a combination, if all goes well today for the Dodgers, of Stripling and Urias coming in and pitching, 2 or 3 innings. Stripling maybe going 5 or 6 today at the most. However, going forward, as he's stretched out, Stripling will be a success pitching for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Understand, and Lenny touched on this in his show. I'm going to pick it up just a little bit. Craig Kimbrell will probably be up later this week. I mentioned him earlier. He's got another rehab assignment pitching in live action today at AAA Iowa. He pitched for AAA Iowa in game action last Friday and Saturday. So I'm looking for Kimbrell up at the end of the week. Morrow pitched off a mound yesterday. This bullpen is going to be a dynamite power keg kind of a bullpen once you get to the All-Star break. Watch out for it. Remember I told you. And watch for the Cubs to make moves to make their lineup even stronger. They're that kind of team, and they're going to be a force in the playoffs this year. The Dodgers are having a great regular season. Got it. But don't you just think the Cubs are going to be a playoff team when we get to it. Andrea says, why does Judge need a day of rest already? Here's the thing, Andrea, that I don't quite get. Although, no matter what Boone does, it seems to be working. I mean, last night, Judge is on the bench. Ursula's starting. Hicks is starting. Gardner's starting. I think what he's doing is he's working these guys back in, monitoring their health, making sure we don't do too much too soon. And by gosh, it's working. From a team perspective. Now, I'm like you. I want to see Judge in there because he's not going to get a hit coming off the IL until he plays in games. I watched him at Durham last weekend. This is now, 10 days ago. His timing was horrible, Andrea. I mean, his timing, he was swinging at pitches up at his head. He was way out in front of off speed. Very much out of whack, timing-wise. And my concern for Judge is, and maybe they're twofold here. Maybe they gave him the night off last night, number one. We don't want to push those abdominals too much too soon. But also, his timing's still isn't back. And I was there watching this weekend against Houston. And again, the timing is not good. So, could they have left him down another week? Sure. I think a lot of it had to do with their going over to England to play. And I wonder how much pressure, if any, Major League Baseball put on the Yankees. You get Aaron Judge up here, he's a great draw for these, people over across the Atlantic Ocean to watch. It's a media event. That's what it is. We know that. And so I'm thinking that's why he came up so soon. I personally think I would have left Judge down in the minors at least another week. It's like a spring training for him. And he's out of whack right now. Look for them to give him more days off. Now, they only play 2 more games. I think he's going to play the next 2 days. Then they're off Thursday and Friday. And then they go to England for Saturday and Sunday. They're off again Monday. So the problem now is you got him in a situation where he needs reps. You got him in the major leagues. He's not going to get the reps. I could see Judge struggling through the All-Star break. And then what do? Another break in action. So they probably won't announce it, but I could see Judge getting some simulated games during the All-Star break, and we not know about it because he's got to get that timing back. Right now, it just isn't good. Okay. Andrea says Jose Ramirez is so exhausted he can't get out of bed. Well, the way he's been playing all year, that's probably where he should have stayed, right? Jose Berrios, he had a blister over the weekend. He is scheduled to start Friday at Chicago with the White Sox. He's to throw a bullpen today. Keep your eye on that. I certainly will. We'll give you an update on that Thursday when I'm back with you. If I know something tonight, I'll give you an update tonight. But I'm going to be looking up that because if the bullpen goes well today, Berrios will not miss a start. He will pitch Friday at the White Sox. And what about Jordan Yamamoto? I mean, what a start to a major league career. And he comes out of nowhere, right? He first game out, shut out 7 innings. Second game out, shut out 7 innings. Last game out, he gets the win. Doesn't shut out, but he gets the win. Strikes out 7 in 5 innings. He's 3-0, 19 strikeouts, 0.95 ERA, 0.79 WHIP. The Marlins are stocked with pitchers. Caleb Smith's coming back this weekend. He may be available in some leagues because of being injured. If he is, he's got ace stuff. The Marlins are going to be a thorn in the side of these National League East teams for the rest of the year. It may come down to how do the Braves fare against the Marlins? How do the Phillies fare against the Marlins? Interesting to see. But Yamamoto, what a great pitcher. And today, Andrelton Simmons is set to come back off the IL for the Angels. Yeah, Andrelton Simmons, who's hitting .298, has been injured with this ankle issue. They thought he may come back over the weekend. He did something to tweak it. Seems like he's coming back today. The Angels are at home. They'll be playing against the Cincinnati Reds. That's a great pitching staff to come back against, right? So Simmons, he's become a great hitter. And so look for that Angel team. This is like adding a piece because they haven't had him. They're 4.5 out of the wild card. They've got the best player arguably in the game in Mike Trout. And now you put a Simmons back in that order, up near the top of the order, more protection for Trout, more opportunities driving runs, more opportunities to score. And more opportunities to score means what? More wins. And now I want to talk finally in this little piece. I got one more player to talk about. And what in the world is going on in Milwaukee with them not letting Keston Hiura play at the major league level? That's right. I mean, come on. It's like, what are you guys seeing that I'm not? Let's talk about Keston Hiura, and then let's talk about the player that he could replace. Okay, first of all, the Brewers, as I told you, they are only a game out of first place in the National League Central. So here they are battling for a division crown, and they've got Travis Shaw playing second base. Travis Shaw homered on Sunday against Cincinnati. Okay. But over his last 17 at-bats, he's only gotten 2 hits. So he is 2 for his last 17. Now, just so you know, that's a 118 batting average. If I was hitting 118, do you think I'd be playing in the major leagues? Well, you know the answer to that. Travis Shaw is hitting 167 on the season. He's got 6 home runs. They can't win with Travis Shaw in the lineup. And when will the Brewers wake up and take note? Meanwhile, Keston Hiura, this is interesting. While he was at the major league level, playing in about 67 at-bats, he hit .281. He hit 5 home runs in probably a third of the at-bats of Travis Shaw. Since his demotion to AAA, what's he been doing? Well, he's had 18 games at AAA, 7 home runs since being sent down, and he's hitting .307. It's not a matter of do the Brewers recall Keston Hiura. It's a matter of when do they do it. And don't you just know, if we get to the All-Star break and he's not being called up, I think he'll be called up before then. But if he's not called up by then, look for Keston Hiura back in the major leagues right after the All-Star break. The Cardinals, again, in the hunt for the division, in the hunt for the wild card, and now they lose their closer to a torn UCL, out for the year. So who do you add in fantasy? I'm loving me some C-Mart, some Carlos Martinez, baby. Yes! 3.00 ERA. He has dynamite stuff, and there's talk about will it be Martinez or Gant. I tell you what, here's the thing. Gant has succeeded as a setup guy. He's used to that role. Martinez, if you remember, last year at the end of the year, they put him in a closer situation, and he was on fire at like a 1.47 ERA as the closer, a few saves at the end of the year. He knows how. He's got dynamite stuff. If I'm adding a St. Louis Cardinal bullpenner right now, it's Carlos Martinez. He's going to get saves. He's going to be the guy on that bullpen. And St. Louis is going to win some games. They're going to be he's going to be fantasy relevant. The Cardinals are going to be fantasy relevant the rest of the way. I'm looking at the rest of that bullpen. Gant's 7-0. Yeah, he's got 37 strikeouts, but he absolutely blew up Sunday. A third of an inning and 4 earned runs. He couldn't have picked a worse spot for that, right? And I don't even consider Miller an option. He's more of a situational guy now, later in his career. He's 3-3 this year. He's got a 4.15 ERA. I think it boils down to Martinez and Gant, and my vote is Martinez. Tyler Glasnow got some bad news yesterday. They shut him down for 3 more weeks. He's not going to throw a baseball, do anything baseball related for 3 weeks. My question is Tyler Glasnow done for the year? And what does this mean for pitching in Tampa Bay? Glasnow was having such a great start to the year before he went down with his injury. You know, he was involved in that now infamous trade with Pittsburgh where he came over, but he was 6-1 with 55 strikeouts, a 1.86 ERA, and a .91 whip when he went out. His last game he played was May 10th against the Yankees. He struck out 9 that day in 5 1/3 innings. So it's his forearm, and he suffered a setback, and he's going to be shut down for those 3 weeks. He felt some type of discomfort, some kind of pain while he was throwing in Oakland over the weekend. He had an MRI. It showed a right flexor inflammation. He was hoping to be back around the All-Star break. He'll now be reevaluated in 3 weeks. I think we'll know more about it then. So let's hold our breath on Tyler Glasnow for 3 weeks, see how he's doing. But after 3 weeks, I think then Tampa Bay has some decisions to make. And they certainly have plenty of talent down on the farm. Speaking of which, I want to look at some of the talent performing last night down on the farm. And then as we close the show today, we'll talk about the games that are on and hitters that you may want to look at in daily fantasy today. Okay? At AAA last night, Nick Solak for Tampa Bay, speaking of the Rays. Mark Youngblood says, call up McKay. I've been preaching that for 3 weeks on this show, Mark. And Mark's in the chat room. I don't know why they hadn't done it. I watched McKay pitch 2 weekends ago now in Durham. That was when Stanton and Judge were rehabbing at AAA. He pitched 5 innings, struck out 7, gave up 1 hit. He throws change-ups off speed. He throws a fastball. He's effortless in the way that he pitches. And he's been hitting better. He's one of these two-way threats, right? Guess Marta, Arnie's Fantasy World of Sports. Good to see you. He's been hitting the ball well. He's one of these double threats. So I don't know why they haven't called him up already, actually. But I'm thinking they're saving him. And every time he pitches at Durham, and I'm talking about Brandon McKay, he only throws 65 pitches or so. So they are keeping him just stretched out enough but not overusing him at AAA. So I think news on Glass now, Mark, will determine what happens with Brendan McKay going forward. I thought